Everybody say it mean.
Who's that out there living the dream? Let's blow in the bean. Who's that still smoking all that green? Let's blow in the bean. Come on, y'all, let me hear you scream. Let's blow in the bean. Let's blow in the bean. Let's blow in the bean. Go.
Let's blow the bean. Here we are. Little break between all of this fighting because we got still another week in between fights, another Saturday where we just have to watch some other
We missed
events.
you.
We did, and we did hear that chatter on the Twitterverse. Thank you, people, for
noticing.
Yeah, it's appreciated. That's why we're back on there.
Oh, friggin' real life. Until you guys start paying our bills, sometimes real life has to come into play.
There's checks and balances.
Gotta keep food in the baby's mouth, and by babies I mean animals.
Fur babies.
Because I don't like children. Unless you have children, of course, in case I love them.
Yeah, not too much of a fan as well. I got nieces and nephews, and I like them as nieces and nephews, and that's about it. So, in the fight verse, we got a little bit of Twitter pop. Things that are somewhat breaking. BJ Penn versus Dennis Seaver. BJ Penn's got another fight. How do you feel about that?
I can't even believe this. I don't even care about either of these dudes. And I don't care about it.
This should have been the first fight that BJ Penn should have had coming into the UFC. Back in. Should have been against Dennis Seaver, not Yair.
Yes.
This should have been the fight.
If you're going to do something for a guy that's a company man, give him it seems a little less harmful, but Dennis Seaver can bang. I don't feel like this ends good for BJ Penn.
Oh, I think BJ Penn has a shot at this. This is almost Bellator-esque style of matchmaking.
Not even anymore. Bellator, I feel like I
they
might
have
watch.
a legitimate.
I might
so
watch.
That goes into our whole Twitter pop. Is this Bellator card that's coming out? The actual prices just dropped for the pay-per-view that they're putting together with Bader, Phil Davis, and a bunch of other names. It's actually stacked as far as fighters, and Scott Coker just put the pay-per-view out for $50 for the pay-per-view. Is that too much money for a Bellator card?
Would it be too much if he made it $49.99?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. This card, I don't buy all the pay-per-views of UFC because they're not all worth it. So if I just hold it comparable to what Bellator has done so far, it's a really good card. I might watch. I might turn on my Kodi and watch. But really, I mean, is this card any worse than the Holly Holmes GDR card?
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Or I think we've just seen another card where something fell out and we were like, the Habib Ferguson night with the Woodley Thompson 2.
If I have a friend or family member that's getting the fight and we all pitch in maybe $5 or $10, maybe I'd do that. Or I would figure out a way online to find it. Cody. And
do you think any bar gets a Bellator card though? Do you think your bar fills with...
Because of that's a good question, because I know that UFC has certain regulations where you have to go to those UFC bars, which usually suck to be in, and you can't go watch fights there because you go to get in fights with most of the patrons when you're in there trying to watch a fight, where if it's better off to just pitch in with 6 other people.
I'm just going to give a plug to, if you're just have a little bit of money in your pocket. We've done it a few times. Yep. They always have a turnover because a lot of people just want to go and eat, and they might be on a wait, but you can get a table. Is Hooters. It's such a good place for you.
I feel like fights. That's one of the times I took you to see Ronda, when I was like, you gotta come check this out. And Hooters has got a big screen, and people didn't know about it. It was in Portland, but it was off the beaten path. I'd gone to a fight with some people before and was like, people don't understand this. Like, in the town, you can't find a seat without having to pay $15, without having to reserve the seats. And then again, you're nut to butt with people and you're elbowing them, and eventually people just get too rowdy watching the fights and stuff. People don't know what they're talking about. It gets crazy. It is better to do it with people that are known and around
and are just fans of the fight. So many people
know what
are
they're
just
talking about.
like fly-by-nighters. They just happen to be there drinking.
Punch him in the dick! Oh, just step on his face!
That's so gay. Look how he's riding him like that.
He's just on top of it. Bullshit, stand him up. I don't want to watch this bullshit. And it's like, you don't understand the ground game. That guy would fucking eat you alive on the ground. And it does infuriate you
Nice
at times.
tight shorts.
Yeah. Oh, he had shorts. I'm not going to go with a fag.
Damn, I hope the hot girl wins.
Yeah. I've said that before, though.
Were you talking about Chael?
Ooh. I think I was maybe, no. He's got a fight coming up. I would say it was probably more along the lines of like a Misha Tate. Like being like, ooh, I got the hot one. But I think she's fought mainly good-looking fighters since the rest of her career. Oh, no, other than Pennington. Pennington's definitely the one that was not the hot chick in the fight.
I like Pennington. She likes something of ours.
Really?
I shouted out at
I think she's...
Rocky Pennington.
I think she's very handsome.
She is not my sexual, like that I'd be sexually interested in her type of lesbian. She's a little butch for me, but I get her appeal.
That's what I'm saying.
She just bought a house with
for her.
She bought a house.
Yeah.
Tisha. I don't know if she bought it. I don't know that part. I didn't get all in depth.
They've been together for a bit now.
But I tweeted at her like real ballers buy houses. Like some fake ballers buy diamonds, real ballers buy houses.
It's the truth.
So, and then I hashtagged it U-Haul and it takes one to know one.
Well, thank you, Raquel, for the...
So I don't know. I like her, but she has a... I keep hearing this too. I have it on my list of things that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of irritating me still that they're like, they sure missed the boat. They missed the boat, not marketing Amanda Nunes. She's a lesbian. That's so huge. And I just don't think it's that big of a deal that a woman's the best fighter in the world that happens to be gay. To me, that makes more sense. All the best women fighters, I said it before, it's more of a surprise to me than when I found out Ronda was straight. When she was ripping girl, it's more of a surprise to me, oh, Cyborg's not a lesbian? Huh. Like, those are, to me...
Right. No, I agree. I would think that it's easier for me to say, oh, even though Tisha Torres is more of the cute petite, you're more likely to still think, oh, I can see how she's a lesbian.
She's a lesbian.
Exactly. You could see that, Cyborg. You're like, oh, obviously she's a lesbian. Oh, wait, she likes...
you're like, oh... Okay,
like it does.
But it's like China from WWE, which I was so surprised when her and Triple. I was like, huh. I always found I get Triple H. I always thought like, oh, okay, he's an attractive man for her. She seems so huge and masculine, but they were like gym partners.
I watched like a Hollywood Story or behind the scenes or Looper or something like that online about China or China Doll in her later years, and
she wasn't allowed to use it.
Oh, unreal. But that poor woman had a horrible life, and her body got her everywhere, good or bad. Poor lady. So
speaking of WWE, have you heard Chris Cyborg called out Ronda Rousey for a tag team match for SummerSlam?
I did, and I thought that it is funny. I really enjoy it because we're getting there regardless with these fights. If we're putting BJ Penn, Seaver, CM Punk, Mickey Gall, if we're putting these kind of fights on, we can have an interim WWE Cruiserweight Women's Intercontinental United States 1990s Championship, Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg.
I think it would be so... Would you buy that pay-per-view?
No, I would definitely stream the shit out of that pay-per-view.
But the same...
But I would watch. Yeah. I would watch.
Yeah,
I would definitely watch.
Interested.
I would definitely watch to see whether they get put over or not. And I don't watch wrestling now, currently. I don't. So I can't speak on
Me
the
either,
other
but
scenes,
I know
but
there's
I know
women
the famous
wrestlers,
people.
and so they put 2 tag team women with them,
Yeah.
which makes it even that much more entertaining, because if you put 2 women with them, we might never see them in the ring at the same time, or they build that up for the whatever amount of time that theatrics goes on. They build it up because they keep tagging out the partner, so we never get to see them in the ring until maybe the last second.
But do you think that in this...
Ronda armbars the Chris Cyborg, that has to be the write-up.
In the diva-ship, though, though world would they both have egos to be able to go in and work as professionals, or would they Montreal screwjob each other and turn on each other out on that? Like, is there too much bad blood in there? Because Ronda,
I think, you know what? I actually think Chris Cyborg is very classy.
But I'm not saying Chris. I'm saying Ronda's the one who doesn't keep it together. I'm not saying Chris.
I don't think Ronda has the brass to just decide to get sassy with a woman like Chris Cyborg.
I think she could. I think that she's that type of person. And it's okay.
I think if they give her $1 million, but that's going to be her character in the ring regardless. They're going to have to do the build up for it a little bit.
But who's going to be willing to take the low road? Who's going to be willing to give up the fall? Cyborg or Ronda?
Doesn't give a damn about her bad reputation. She's a natural heel. I think she goes in a kilt. I think she wears a rowdy tank top. I think she fucking goes in with the...
She was given rowdy by Rowdy.
What are those bagpipes? Just like Rowdy Piper did. I think she goes in
gave her that. He allowed her to take that name other than Beck Rawlings.
And I think Cyborg comes out with half her face painted with the Brazilian paint. And I think she does with the fire that shoots up out of the side and just the jump. Boom! Fire. I kind of like that about Bellator. I've seen some of their walk-ins and stuff on YouTube. They
mimic the Coker's been adamant about it. I just copied what the Japanese did, and the Japanese know how to put on a good show.
Treat your guys like fucking heroes when they come in.
Pyrotechnics,
make them like rock stars. Like boom, fuck just the lights.
Go to any old Pride. What Vanderlei Silva was just as known for his dance into the ring, same as Anderson Silva, as it was winning the fight or being brutal.
Something just because I had no idea in all my life of watching MTV when I was younger that the dude from Bully Beatdown was in the UFC.
Mayhem Miller.
I had no idea, but now I've been looking up
Mayhem Miller's checkered background.
So his walk-ins, as crazy as they are, brilliant. And so I feel like that has to be like kind of, you know how like the British Bulldog would walk, I don't know, some old fighters or Ultimate War, whatever. I think throw in that theatrics.
Well, that's what I loved about Tom Lawler. Because he was doing that. He was one of the few fighters doing that.
Are you sure you're not talking about Robbie Lawler?
And Tom Lawler just had
#USADA.
A tweet of he mimicked what was it? Goodbye Horses from Silence of the Lamb, and then he said, "Who'd fight me? I'd fight me."
That's awesome.
Fucking genius. We'll have to retweet that. We're big fans of that specific tune by
just
Q
so
Lazarus.
You guys know, if you ever go to most bars now, they have that internet Bluetooth jukebox called Touch Tunes. So you can download an app for your iPhone. I'm sure they have it for Android as well. But the best thing to do is when you see, you're in a silent bar, have the song set up and ready on your Touch Tunes because you can play it right from your phone and no one knows. And when some biker walks up to the bar and he's like, I'm going to play some fucking metal and something that I'm so tough, put on Goodbye Horses, and everyone's looking at him like he's a fucking creep show the whole time.
There will always be someone around like, is this that song from that movie?
It takes them a minute at first. It creeps. You know how they infiltrate you with things on the news? Like they always say, 911. It's funny how it's emergency day, and it happens to be 9/11 as well. They've infiltrated us with that fear of that number forever. Same thing with that song. It's infiltrated. Should I tuck my dick between my legs?
Just tuck it when you need it. When you need to.
And then start screaming, tuck it, tuck it, tuck it.
So, Tom Lawler was doing that.
Yearning. I'm so stupid. Tom Lawler.
And it is really one of the things that was taken away with the Reebok deal that we hate so much here, that soon enough, hopefully other people, younger generations, notice this and are like, oh, I'm going to take from that as well. I think there's someone else who was
weak ass Reebok deal.
Diego Sanchez came in as the Assassin's Creed guy. Do you remember that? Have you seen the footage of that? He came in with a hood and a cross that was as big as his face. And Joe Rogan did a whole breakdown of it. But people put in he's fighting Satan. And you can see him walking in putting out the cross before he goes into battle, and it's a cloak, Assassin's Creed legitimate fucking cloak.
I like that shit.
And he's
I've seen the guys walking with the Jason mask. Like,
or do all sorts of stuff on
I think
even
Ronnie
regional
Jason
scenes.
does.
I've seen guys wear like ladies, like just like a girl dress in a wig.
you know what
and
I'd
then
walk
take it
in
off real quick.
if I were a dude. It would be so much better. If I were a dude, I'd walk in one of those T-shirts that was like the naked or the lady in a bikini.
Yes.
I'd walk in that shirt.
Dun, dun,
Yep,
dun,
just
dun.
down it, and I'd walk into like Uptown Girl. But I'd totally be like, stud. It'd be so much better.
You'd have to be good though. You have to be good.
I was watching up like things that are probably a looper or something weird on, but it was like wrestlers that have gone through the greatest transformations. Gold Dust.
Yeah.
His character is kind of like cool now compared to the.
I watch those as well. That's where I catch up on my knowledge. A lot of those is like, oh, what happened to this person in the last 30 years? I did see that Gold Dust one, but it might have been like a WWE most intensive transformations.
Something like that. Of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
have lost weight or.
Or breaks or like big injuries. I've watched those where it's like, oh, where are they from? The injuries, and then you see the broken legs and the
I don't do that.
Hardy
Boo.
ladder face. I remember watching that live when he took that ladder to the face and being like, they don't ever get hit in the face like that, and his face.
I
just
can't even watch
splitting
Rob
open.
Dyrdek's ridiculousness because I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Like skateboarding and falling on the pipe.
The broken legs.
Or like missing. Yeah, I don't like any of that. Or hitting their chin on the ground.
Watching this. All of those suck.
I'm
and
squeamish. Every goddamn.
practicing-
This is the other thing. Anderson Silva fights.
Yeah. Yep.
We have to watch that goddamn leg break every time. It's.
The most infamous
I
leg break
forget. I
of all
always
time.
forget I'm watching it, and because I didn't watch all Anderson Silva's fights, so when they're showing these highlights or him, I'm like all interested, and then the fall. Oh goddamn! I don't need to see that ever again in my life.
And that is the most infamous break that there is. I have friends as well that anytime it comes on, they get queasy and they're like, oh, dang it. And they literally have to move out of the room. And they're watching the fights, but they're like, they would wrestle with us in high school, so they understand the sport, but they just don't like to see the gruesome injuries.
Right now, Kelvin or Silva?
Kelvin.
I think so too.
Yep. I love the memes that have been going around where it's Anderson Silva and Kelvin up on his shoulder like a little parrot, or like Kelvin in the background because
The
they're
poster coming
profiling
out.
him. Yeah, it's so funny. I love the internet. Twitter, you are a source of constant newsfeed. Going back to the quick topic of UFC missing the boat with Amanda Nunes, the point that you were saying that they just have the perfect star for the gay or LGBT or L community. Another person that they recently missed the boat with that actually missed our entire scope, but not that I necessarily follow this, and I don't think that you do as well. The LBQ magazine, I can't tell you.
LGBTQ.
Q.
But I think they added a letter.
And a B or something in there.
LGBTQ.
So.
Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer.
TQ then.
LGBTQ.
LGTBQ. Mark Dykesi actually posed prior to his last fight against Pelican in the magazine, and I believe is an openly gay fighter. I couldn't confirm it, but I feel like...
Can I tell you? My gaydar went off when I saw him in an interview.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was just because of his accent. Because it's just not
Because
right
he's
to
European?
see... No, the London, the proper British accent come out of a black man is very... It's just weird for my senses. And so I'm like...
Gay!
He might not be gay.
No, I
just
believe
black
he's
speaking.
openly gay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there was a couple other people talking about it, but they couldn't.
He's good looking. He has a great body.
The knockouts he's getting.
You put him on the cover of every Advocate magazine.
Yeah.
And then even maybe, you put Amanda Nunes inside with her girlfriend and their love story, how they started out as training partners. An Advocate and all this.
Did you get a gay man and lesbian of Amanda Nunes status in the same room, or are they gonna fight? Are they gonna go? No, I'm joking. That's a bad joke.
Because I think in Brazil it's so much easier to be a gay man. She's probably so used to it.
Yeah.
She's probably so much more comfortable. And in Miami, She is
she's-
around the gay men. But I just think they don't even have to be in the same room at all. They can be in separate photo shoots. But I just think that's how you get gay people to come and watch the sport. I think you highlight his knockout power, and I think you highlight her ground game, her black belt. I think that you highlight that to just show them these two angles of the sport, and I think you have her and her partner in like cute sexy outfits but doing legit submissions, like legit holds. I think her and Arnofsky. I think you have I think that could be Asnarov. Yeah, that's what it is. And I think you have them do something like that, and I think it could just be for the gay community, like, maybe there's something for us to watch over here. I think the gay women I know, are probably already watching UFC or some sort of fights, even if they're not as knowledgeable about it. But gay men,
I think we're turning them every single day. I think it's a day-by-day thing that there isn't a max, that there's people that don't understand that they like this sport because they haven't given it a chance because they don't understand the basics of it. And once they start to understand that, they're like, it's violent, but it's an art form.
He understands. Connor gets it. Connor's posing naked in magazines.
Well, that's what that Kessie's doing in this community. And it's just like, UFC, you're missing tons of people. Why not the gay? There is so many competitive gay men that are just looking, and they're like, because I feel like guys
they have more
are
money
horny.
To spend.
Well,
they have more money to spend because they're more likely to be dinks, which is double income, no kids. So they can go to these shows. They can spend the money on the events.
I think what I was going to say with them is that I think that men, even though I'm not a gay man, surprise, surprise, that they can separate, gay men can separate the competitiveness from the sexual aspect. So it's not like, ooh, two guys rolling around in a ring. No,
totally
it's two
agree.
guys being like, no, those dudes are fucking battling.
Yeah.
And then later, after the fights, they go do whatever the fuck they want. But they can appreciate the sport for what it is. And they're the perfect demographic. Why not? They understand
I watch
competitiveness.
MTV's The Challenge. Some of the best guys on there are gay men.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do. They still have the
and
same.
they can watch a fight and be like, God damn, that's a fight. Like, they get it.
And they've been in fights.
So, to be in the if you need an advocate of not a tough guy that's like, might say, ooh, something bad in the gay community, because we've had that reputation before in the UFC.
I don't even think you need gay fighters. I feel like you could take Luke Rockhold and plaster him, Joe Van.
But it's whether Luke Rockhold would want to or not. He might not.
He seems like he's comfortable. Like, there's certain guys that just seem like they wouldn't give a shit. Some guys seem like, I'm
Tom
not
Lawler.
down with that homo shit. Like,
Tom Lawler?
like Yoel Romero, he is not going to post for the advocate.
True.
He's never going to do that.
Not for gay Jesus.
Not for gay Jesus at all. But it seems like John Jones wouldn't give a shit about holding his dick and standing there.
He might, though, because he's ultra religious.
Oh, yeah, and you know what else? Black guys, they can't even fuck around with that.
That's one of... So, there is people. That's what I'm saying.
Moonlight. Black guys can't even fuck around with that. You will get that. It's a weird thing in our culture.
It is.
So it's good for him in the culture he's from, Diakesi, that it's good for him that he, I think, I would guess, and I'm just talking out of my ass, that in London they're a little more open with it. They're a little ahead of the United States anyway when it comes to
I'm interested. I would want to look into it more. I can't speak on
it's
it.
It's just a community to make more money for the UFC. So
I think it's an avenue that it is untapped, and I guess how would I even know if it was tapped? Because I don't go into those chat rooms, websites, or anything. So maybe they did. Maybe they are promoting the shit out of fights.
How
in the gay
many
community.
gays do you think watch Ellen? That turned on because Ronda was on all the
I
time.
agree. Did she have Rockhold on there as well, Ellen?
I don't know.
That's where you get Rockhold in on Ellen.
They make him look cute.
Hell, he looks good in a suit. Put that dude in any suit. Cut his hair and put him in a suit.
He's kind of a pig. Like, you almost have to have somebody that was like, I know.
But they have to be able to talk.
They'd have to be charming with Ellen.
Bisbee can be, but he's an asshole. St. Pierre, not good enough. Not big enough.
It'd have to be.
It has to be a big man, too.
You know who would be good?
Weidman.
Derek Lewis. I think he could be.
If he took it seriously.
If you just went on there like how black guys go on Chelsea, like, how you doing, Ellen? Like, if you just went on there and maybe, I just think that kind of.
Ooh. Tyron.
I feel like if he wasn't so mad, if he just really, it would be good for his
Wouldn't
image.
he be good for Ellen,
It would
potentially?
be so good for his image to just
Yeah.
go on and cut up a little bit.
Yeah. Be
to
like,
just
what's
be-
up?
yeah.
Just be like, oh, I was a wrestler.
He
Like,
should
he
be
has
on Chelsea. He needs to sit down on Chelsea's couch
Ooh.
and talk about race and talk about, she'll nut it out with him. But I think she also... Yeah.
How do you feel about UFC people making the rounds on the Jimmy Kimmels and the late night shows? I don't watch any of those shows, but I do see that they put the snippets up on YouTube.
I don't think they should be having to do any of those shows to promote their fight in their last 3 months before their fight. I think that's... I don't know what it's like to train for something as severe as an MMA fight, but I just imagine I need all my time. And so to travel and do things like that. But I think they have enough stars that they could keep some of their stars relevant by spreading them through the circuits.
I could see potential problems in scheduling things where would you want people to get heat on somebody on an upcoming fight, so you want to put them on before a fight, but then they have the training involved, or do you want to get them right after a fight, or do you want to get them when they're injured?
Ahead of time, like if you're the UFC and you know, like, we're holding off, I'm just pulling this out of my ass, we're not letting we hope Chris Weidman beats Mousasi, so it lines up perfectly for Rockhold's healing, and we know Rockhold's healing longer than he needs to be, but we can't let the fans know that, so we're trying to line up this perfect fight, and you kind of know something like that's coming up, then you say, hey, Rockhold, we're going to go ahead and play ball with you, but you have to go on this, and we don't care what you talk about the entire time on the show, but somewhere you have to make a slight about Chris Weidman, because we're going to feed it into the storyline. You know what I mean? So I just feel like you play them almost like wrestlers in a way. So you're never rigging fights or anything like that, but you might rig interest in fights but they already hate, it would be easy to do for a lot of people because they already don't like each other.
I think that for me, I could pick 15, 20 different people to be put on any one of those shows, and the fact that those shows aren't getting picked up by more, or they're not getting even more airtime, is a travesty. I don't know what the marketing plan is for the new WMIME stuff, but I feel like there was just some report that I didn't get into because we got on the show that was making the comparison of, has really a lot changed since the Zuffa turnover? Have we seen a real big difference in our card, either quality, our marketing quality? Like what are the...
I would say, just from my brief time, that the UFC has had a huge incline, not just in like the amount of fights and the excitement of the fights and the names that are going into the fights, and over maybe up until 2015, and then in 2016 was the first time that either they're plateaued or a decrease. So I don't know it far back to say, well, it's better than it was in 1995 or something like that. I don't know it like that, but I will say it's not as good without McGregor. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what he did to it. I was interested in everything before he was the Conor McGregor that he is, but it's just, no, Ferguson and Khabib, it's just everything that matters never always falls out. They're like a really shitty boyfriend or something, or girlfriend for that matter.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of the beast, and we just are
But I don't want to get excited about Max and Jose. I don't want to even get excited. I feel like they're my next Khabib Ferguson. I just feel like it's not going to happen. Something my gut says it's going to fall out.
If there's somebody to fall out of a fight,
it's Jose Aldo.
It's Jose Aldo. And I would be interested, why isn't there a line out there? Why isn't there a prop bet out for Jose Aldo dropping the fight?
I'd
take those odds.
Yeah, a couple of the fighters. Odds. I feel like I just don't think the fight's going to happen because...
Ian McCall's in on that.
Who do you got right now for that fight?
Ooh, that's a hard fight to call.
For me, it's easy.
I don't think that's easy at all.
For me, it's an easy fight to call. I got my boy Max Holloway by submission round 4.
I want to say Max, but goddamn, even though he got knocked down in 13 seconds, Aldo's never looked that bad.
I'm not even including that in my fight.
He's still one of the best one of the most skilled athletes of all time in our sport. He really is. But Holloway is in those type of levels, and I am slightly leaning towards Holloway, but I could wake up and be on Aldo's side. It's such a close fight for me.
There's something that Connor said that I just think is just true about fighting, and there's just something about the way he thinks about the business side of it, everything. I'm just watching him more and studying his career, and there's something that he said in the Jose Aldo fight that I just think is it's true for every career, but especially fighting. One day there's a new young hungry gorilla in the woods that wants everything you have, and I'm that gorilla to Jose Aldo, and I kind of feel like Max Holloway is that gorilla as well. Like, one day you're the older gorilla that can't hold on to your shit, and there's younger gorillas coming up the pike that will get your shit, and I just feel like Max Holloway he's going to be the champion. He is deserving of that belt to me now. I hate that belt should not be on Aldo's arm or waist going into this fight. It irritates the shit out of me. But this is the only thing that'll make me change my mind on that. If Edgar was the one wearing that belt, I don't think I'd have the same, because didn't they fight for that? Edgar and Jose?
They did for this.
For the interim?
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay, never mind. Because I really like Max.
That Edgar fight's happened like 2 or 3 times already with Aldo. It's like, we know Edgar can't beat Aldo. We know that. And we know most other people other than Conor. That's what put Conor in this legendary status, though, is him beating Aldo, though, in the fashion he did. And then Eddie Alvarez, who it doesn't get walked through. Like, it's just...
I watched the best breakdown on that fight. And at Weasel17, he does really good breakdowns on YouTube. But he was saying one of the biggest rules in boxing, so if you're an orthodox fighter and you're throwing your power hand, your back leg never comes off the mat. Like, it's like in Boxing 101. I wouldn't know this if I wasn't watching the breakdown.
Your punches,
it happened because Conor does this weird feint, and he's so long that he leans forward. People think like, oh, he put his hands behind his back, but he puts his hands behind his back to give you this false idea that you can reach him.
Yep. Because
his reach was 6 inches longer than Alvarez. But so when he thought he could reach him and realized he couldn't mid-swing, he had to go forward all of his body weight, so his back foot came off the ground every time he punched, which threw him off balance, which gave him no power behind that lead. Conor knew it was coming, and then he came around with his left every time, and he was clear open for it with a back leg off the ground. So he was like pushing, losing all of his...
Right,
so
he was out of position.
Yeah, so Alvarez knows all this because he's so boxing heavy, and that's why those are the reasons he was so pissed at himself after the fight. It's like he lost his basics. But I didn't know what that basics meant.
So that's actually, and Eddie's talked about that openly since that fight, that the whole game plan was to circle the opposite way and throw punches directly to oppose that left hand. But when push came to shove and that bell rung, Eddie didn't do that. And that is a credit to Conor as well, because he created that scenario where Eddie went against the game plan. Whether it was the talking beforehand, the showmanship before the ring, whether it was his presence in there, whether it was his fans in the ring or at ringside that caused Eddie to do that, it was a benefit for Conor, and that will happen to other people because it's already happened to people.
I think Conor is surprisingly bigger when he's standing in front of you.
Yeah. And he's fast. He is fast. He's lightning fast with that left hand.
That's the other thing that the Weasel 17 broke down. He says Alvarez makes it to the center of the octagon in that fight first.
Yep.
When Conor comes in, Eddie immediately takes 2 steps back, and Conor's a counter fighter.
Still in range.
So it's like that's what Conor wanted. He wants his opponent to start backing up, and then he has him right where he wants him to start working his.
Yeah.
And that's where
pressure game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Conor can beat Floyd. I really think Conor can beat Floyd. I can't. I know.
Back to this.
I know. But the other boxing stuff.
Yeah.
Did you hear Big Brown just signed a contract with Showtime?
Come on. For what?
To do pre-fight and shows, and I think pre-fight and maybe fight companion shows for Showtime Boxing.
Wow.
Big Brown
Wow.
alone, not Fighter and the Kid.
And he's not going to be
Brennan Schaub.
ringside.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a kind of like a Bryant Gumbel type deal on HBO, but it'll be Brennan Schaub.
Oh, like a break, like he talks down, like they're 24/7 kind of a thing?
Whatever I have, or...
Not like a live where they're fighting in the background and he's breaking down.
No,
the
I don't
fight.
think
he's
he's going to
not
be
live
the Joe
commentary.
Rogan.
Okay,
He's not going to
okay.
be the Joe Rogan.
Okay,
I think
okay.
it's going to be like a... Yeah, maybe their workup and have an interview show where he has the fighters on it.
interesting.
Kind of like a, build-up show, but it's somewhere...
So he's going to be back to essentially like he was by Fox, except it's going to be by Showtime.
But I think it's Brennan Schaub outside, not his show, not the Big Brown Breakdown.
Right.
Just Brennan Schaub. So I think it's just like a side thing for him, like a side job, but
right.
for boxing. And I think he says that he is he's a huge MMA fan, but he knows everything about boxing.
He was picked up, was it by HBO Boxing? And he did one show with them, and he did live cast by the side, and he did a commentary on it, and then they never hired him back.
I don't think it was a boxing. It was him and Brian, and they did something.
No, it was
weird.
him with actual other, like the Jay Glazer guy, whatever his sport he covers with live commentating.
Yeah, it was something that he said that he just wasn't...
Well, he wasn't into it because, like, he was giving up his own... outside of this podcast, we've talked about it, where he was saying, like, oh... Don't tell me those secrets because, I'll be telling you right now. And it's just like, no, you really don't understand. They won't let you back in the club, and they didn't hire him back because he was saying, oh, don't tell me those because I'll tell you. I'll tell you if so. I'll tweet that right out. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you're not going to be in our organization. Maybe Showtime understands that and is like, we don't care. We got nothing to hide.
Or maybe they're like, we want it. That's what we're looking for.
Exactly.
The younger media presence of...
That has that mentality.
But damn, if you really look at it right now, who's playing it smarter than Brennan Schaub?
I agree. He's making moves.
And he's not having to fucking still fight like Chael to make people like, how am I going to get people to keep tuning into You're Welcome? Since I just keep outing stories, like his little fucking fake story of, I have some inside info from a ticketing guy that the Mayweather-Conor fight is definitely going to happen. He has no other news than that. I could say, hey, guess what, Bean? I got some fucking inside info. That fight's definitely going to happen. Yeah, it's called my goddamn common sense.
Yeah.
You and everyone else in America. He's just such a... chode. But I guess that's his character.
Exactly, and that's what he's.
But he seems like that in
do.
real life. I don't think it's a character. I think he's a chode. Like, I think that guy probably sucks to hang out with.
But he can beat you up.
Yeah, and I'll sue him.
No, in real life, even when he's like your friend and
me.
he's that way, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, well, he is the toughest guy in the room as well. And
so he always gets to talk
whatever
mess he wants to talk because people are like,
God damn it. Then I'm going to have to get it. And he's
Chael.
willing to fight. Not that he's physically, he doesn't go around bullying people, but that's essentially where he gets his presence because everyone knows his credentials already.
fucking Chael.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I think that's just the way he is. I think that he's making money off of his heelness more so than anyone. And if people should take note, it's of people like Chael. Maybe not do it the route he's doing it, but see how he's taking it to the next level. I feel like Tom Lawler's starting to really do that. I feel like Mickey Gall, we've talked about, has really done that really well.
But I
Woodley's
feel like there's
trying
something about people who are really... You might be able to make it somewhat far, but... It's not, people like, they don't want to pull for a bad guy. I think people trying to go onto these podcasts and play this character, I think it's only going to go so far.
That's the worst thing to do.
Like, it might have worked when there was only so much content, but the content out there is just getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So when you have a guy like Brennan Schaub, who is legitimately thankful for the position he's in right now, like he's doing, he's selling out comedy shows and he's really honing his comedy skills, and you just see that this guy has a lot of drive. He goes to bed early every night, wakes up early, puts that, like, mentality into it and of fighting and just training every day, but putting his focus toward other things. But I just feel like, and he he gets touched, like Joey Diaz was on.
Oh, I love Joey
Alone.
Diaz.
Coco, Team Coco.
I am.
He always tweets back at us. We tweeted out at him that he looked really good on the Big Brown Breakdown.
Oh,
and
good.
Joey's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't ever want to watch you do comedy. I never wanted to look at you in the eyes. Because it would be just like, let's say I was in the local circuit and I had my orange belt and Dana came to a couple of my fights and he was like, yeah, Joey's getting kind of famous. Maybe we'll just throw him in against like, and I came to you and I said, Brennan, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign up for the UFC. You would have been like, Joey, don't do that, man. Like, you're going to hurt yourself. He's like, that's exactly how I felt about you getting on stage and doing stand-up.
That's awesome.
And he goes, but I watched you up there and you told a story and, you know, I thought about it. I thought back to years and years and you probably don't even remember this. And he's like, this is like, you know, 10 years ago. I opened up for Joe Rogan and Dana White came to a show and I opened up for Joe, and this is back when I never did any kind of work. I never did any kind of prep to go on stage. I just was like, whatever comes out, comes out. Mm-hmm. And I was up there and for some reason it was a lit up crowd and it was weird, and the only thing I could see was next to Dana White was Brennan Schaub. And I didn't know too much about you. I just knew you were a fighter. But I was watching your face wash the stage and you weren't laughing and you were taking it all in. You were studying it. And I remembered that when you were on stage, when I snuck into the back of your comedy club and watched your set. When I was watching you, I remembered that moment all of a sudden. And he was like proud of him. Brennan gets all touched. But Brennan cries a lot.
Interesting.
Brennan cries. But I think that's kind of the new mama's boy world we live in. I think men are a little more emotional and it's okay.
But I don't think that crying's bad. I'm in that boat that I don't think that it's a weakness.
I don't think it's bad at all.
I don't
and
think
I think
it's a weakness.
kind of on a podcast type situation. It's a good...
It's a release.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a massage. It's like if you have a freaking muscle that's cramping, are you gonna leave it alone or are you gonna stretch it out? You're gonna stretch it out and loosen it up.
Sometimes you just gotta...
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. Hey, let's say you go into a room and do what you gotta do and you don't shoot up a school the next day. Guess what?
Yeah,
Crying just saved the school.
Good.
Not a big fucking deal. Suck it up. Yeah. You don't have to get crazy.
And if you're a dad, I will just tell you this. Don't cry in front of your children too much.
Not too much.
Yeah, like
when it's needed.
If somebody passes or
Sure.
if it's like an emotional thing, I think it's okay. But if you're the dad that there's like a commercial on and you're shedding tears on the couch every Thursday night, no.
Yeah,
it's not okay.
It's not going to be a fun
okay.
childhood for your son. It's not going to be at all.
It's not okay.
You got to have a little bit of a backbone.
Okay, what else is going on?
In general, our phones and everybody and everything is listening to us, and we are being recorded as we speak right now. Woo, 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 woo. The stuff in the news, I feel like that's a real crazy topic that...
What do you think about Mousasi saying that Bisping is frankly the easiest guy to fight in the top 10? So
I even think that's a duh. And like, of course, Bisping put himself in a really unique situation and got through Rockhold, and then has fought who? Dave Henderson, who shouldn't have been in the top, maybe in the top 10, and now he's fighting a 170 pounder. Yeah, easiest fight is Bisping. Bisping is, if Bisping's like, oh, Tyron, you want to fight me from 170? Okay, let's do that fight after it. I don't have to fight another 85er.
And all Bisping needs in this fight is takedown defense.
Yeah.
If he has that, he wins the fight.
He wins the fight.
And Bisping has pretty good takedown defense already.
Oh, yeah. And he's got so much more size. It just, it's so crazy. So crazy. But I would say that's such a true statement, and everybody else knows that in the fight community. Bisping is ducking the 105 or 185 division right now.
You probably know this already. Did you know Megan Olive, the little brown-headed girl that looks like the wife of Sergeant Brody on Homeland?
She announces for UFC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that's Joey Benavidez's wife?
I just found that out today. Who was talking about that?
Probably on Twitter somewhere.
She was a little hottie, but they just got married last year, 2015.
I didn't know that. I was like,
she's
good for
a little
Joey
hottie.
B. They're a cute little couple, though. I was like, good for him. I didn't know
He's
that.
Mexican.
Yeah, I know. That last name gives it all away.
I was thinking that. I was like, woo, she's a tiny little thing, but of course, they're a little couple made in heaven. He whooped the shit out of you, but he's a tiny guy, too. I mean, what is he, like 5'2", 5'3"?
And Cyborg gave up her belt.
I'm 140. What?
She gave up her 145 belt in Invicta.
Oh, okay. I thought that had already happened. I didn't
think
realize.
for some reason, with everything going on, and probably with the UFC, it was probably a good bargaining chip for her to hold it for.
Well, the Invicta's owned by the UFC owns Invicta and hasn't shut it down. Yeah, UFC just put Invicta under it, and I listened to the MMA Junkie years ago when Shannon Knapp went on to MMA Junkie and it was like, our big news is we're getting bought out by UFC, but we're all keeping our jobs. They're just going to fund it. They like what we're doing because we're the only women's organization, and they were going to use it as a women's feeder league into their own organization, the UFC. It's genius. It really is. Because then now they can really, really hone that talent and really
we always talk
pick the
about
cream of
it.
the crop.
Angela Hill is proof that Invicta was perfect.
Yeah. There's KGB coming out of there. I think she's a 115 or 125.
And
girl.
Megan Anderson, I hope
good.
soon. I would
Yeah,
love
145.
Megan Anderson versus Holly Holm at 145. And then the
That'd be a
winner of
great
that
fight.
fights the winner of the GDR versus Cyborg. That would be amazing.
Which is that? Did I see us retweet something about how Darren Dami hurt her neck from ducking Chris Cyborg so much?
I love that.
That was really funny. It got me when I was reading
It was a
that
retweet.
one.
I can't even take credit for it, but that was definitely funny.
Yeah, because I was like, God damn it, GDR's out for how long now? Oh shit, that's pretty funny.
And did you see Connor smoking? It looked like Connor was taking a hit off the Diaz train, hitting that big old bowl.
As long as he's not in competition, he can smoke. If he's legal in the state.
And
he doesn't have a fight coming up, he can smoke. It's out of competition.
Asked a few people too, just because I wanted to know. I think I actually tweeted it at Robin Black because I wanted to know if Connor could retire from the UFC to box, but I don't think so because it's both combat sports.
It depends on the laws of the state.
Like for Brock Lesnar, because WWE is entertainment.
Yeah.
So he can retire and go on a stage play and do that, but you can't retire and go fist fight somewhere.
Interesting. I would say that I would think that it's up to every single state or of the governing body for that state and or region. Maybe it's a couple states together.
The UFC wants half his purse.
Whose purse?
Connor's. If he gets 100, they want 50 million.
That's ridiculous. But I thought that, from what I was understanding, Mayweather and Conor would be looking to make 100 mil a piece. And UFC would still make 25 million, and boxing would still make 25 million.
And pay-per-view for everybody.
Right, that's what I was. That what I was wrong? I thought that was kind of the last time I heard.
The UFC wants half of Connor's. Whatever he gets, they want half.
You can't put your hands in his pocket. You can't put your hands in his pocket.
No, it doesn't do any good for your.
It's not good
They're
at
gonna
all.
ruin a business relationship when contracts come to shove.
Yeah,
they're
they
gonna
can't.
fuck themselves. Like if Connor goes to Bellator, if Connor starts his own fight organization, all of a sudden people give a shit.
Right.
Like more. All the fans we talk about the UFC needing to get to change their numbers, Connor would get them.
And was this just among the Twitterverse? Is there anyone specific, like a
No, it was
Ariel
a real article
or
that I read. It was a few
Akamoto?
real articles.
Oh,
where
okay,
it
like
was
it's legitimate sources somewhere.
I feel like it might have been. Yeah, it might have been like a bloody elbow or something. It was like I read a whole article on it because I'm like, what the hell? This does not seem fair. But it's almost like, I mean, like American Idol. We find all the 20 talented, most young people coming up and sign them to lifetime contracts and.
Or Scientology.
Exact same, yeah. Exact same thing.
1,000-year contracts for your soul.
So, yeah. So it just seems crazy. And I hope the UFC does not get another sneaker deal or anything like that. I really hope they let this Reebok deal go by the wayside. It'll change everything.
It'll change everything. And I hope that there's a backlash in the other way where so many fighters are like, I didn't get to do my thing. I understand. I got to make a presence on my walkout. And they start doing it where it's done well. I can't say classy because everyone has their own. But as long as it's done well, if it's not just like, give me this dollar items. I'm walking out with a stupid pump. No. If you come out like in boxing, did you ever used to see, it was not De La Hoya, but Vargas, the boxer, used to come out with dudes in the Aztec stuff, a mariachi band, and he'd fucking punch through a wall of bricks. I'm dead serious. Fucking awesome. He'd come out with a gold robe. It was fucking gangster. Didn't care for his fighting style, but yeah. That pageantry definitely it makes you feel good about that pay-per-view. You're like, damn, I got a show on top of it.
Football teams walk into the arena.
Yeah.
Look how, I mean, come on. It's almost like the UFC is totally missing the boat.
Halftime shows during basketball and football. They all have entertainment in between all that, do they not?
And big screen, they couldn't have like a 27, not a workup, but like where they actually, let's say Amanda Nunes, just because she does have the lion mask, where you actually do a 27, like bleed in all her knockouts with like a lion running through the jungle on the big screen. The whole arena goes black and then flames and then she's coming down. They could really do...
Why not the fucking... blimp that drops tickets, cards, that not the kiss cam, but for the UFC, I don't know that they do that. I haven't seen it in MMA.
They have the like monitors we see in the middle of the octagon, and I think they must show some workups because they also do the replays on them.
Yeah, where people can see them.
But I don't think they bleed it in where it's like all of a sudden like everything goes purple and here comes Prince. You know what I mean? They could really up the level here. I think it's such a bleak.
I totally agree. And that's where I'm saying, like, if they got the crowd a bit more involved, like football and or basketball games where it's not a lot, where they'll pan to the audience every once in a while. And that's where we got the just bleed guy.
Yeah, because even all the Europeans and all of the like Brazilians,
whenever they do the pans of the athletes or whatever, but if they do it to a crowd and the crowd's in on it, they're like, oh my god, and they flip. And I love
and
that.
Paint our
Get
faces.
them involved. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And wear our shirts, make our shirts, and have signs.
If they have a UFC day or best dressed of whatever it may be, whether it's something to that specific region of wherever they're at in the world, or if it was just like
signs. You should be able to hold up signs during walkout. Walkout only. If you roll up your sign and I bring it for my person. I've done it for other events that I've gone to.
So when the fight's on, you have to pull your sign down, or you get asked to. It gets taken away after 3 times.
Immediately. Yeah. But if you have it up during the walkout, you can hold it up during every walkout. And it could say like, screw whatever politician, or it could say like whatever your sign wants to say. But it could also say something like
Kane 316.
Robbie Lawler is the shit, or whoever, or like Team McGregor for life, whatever.
Oh, I was
209, where I hold a 2, you hold a 0, and someone holds a 9, and we're like, woo! Defense. Or we paint our bellies, and we're like, 209!
Well, the Just Bleed guy, the infamous scene, have you seen, I'm sure you have, because it's a guy who's painted like in Sooner colors, or it's like orange, blue, and white, and it says Just Bleed on his stomach, and the camera goes on him, and he crushes a beer, and is like, raw, raw, and freaks out. You haven't seen that? It's genius, and it is the epitome of an MMA fan, and we need to make that okay, but also not look like complete douchebags, because that's an affliction guy.
And
that's a tap out guy.
Fighters don't want to, because they're like, I don't have the fucking headspace for all that shit. They don't have to. They can just, but most of them are walking out with flags around their shoulders anyway, so that's half of it. They could have boxing coats on or whatever. I don't know. I just am like, if UFC wants to bring it to this really next level to get this new audience, they have to up the ante. And if they want to make people, like if I'm tuning in for the first time, and let's say it is a guy like Joey Benavidez, a legit awesome fighter that an average fan would never know who he was. But if all of a sudden they're shooting flames and jumping music and Joey Benavidez is running down, I think he's somebody, so I'm watching this fight thinking, this guy's somebody.
Imagine Henry Cejudo, which I don't know why I'm thinking of him, Ultimate Warrior style, running to the fucking ring. Little Henry Cejudo. I would fucking love it.
I feel like Henry's going to be on a mad tear. I think for some reason...
He's a little beast.
I think that loss to DJ is going to change his whole... And he's been scrappier. Yeah. He's been standing at the line more. I think he's fixed... He came in as such a wrestler.
He's the type of person... Well, he hasn't lost in... He came in undefeated till DJ.
I was losing my steam for him, but I think...
He's been a diamond in the rough, but I knew that he wasn't going to be able to beat DJ. I had him in all of his other fights up until then. But if DJ's out of the picture, that's a potential champ for the division. It's just DJ's just that good, and that's just the era that Cejudo's at. But Cejudo's a diamond in the rough. He's a guy that could be on Ellen as well. That would be cute. Gold medal American, All-American.
You know who's the charming guy that goes on Ellen? Mickey Gall.
I was going to say that to you earlier as well. Mickey Gall could be there. But he's so young, though, that I could see the background story isn't there enough for the daytime audience. Cejudo is a gold medalist, so he can say, I grew up a Mexican-American, grew up wrestling, went to the Olympics.
Boring. I think somebody has to be like...
I was gold. Gold!
Yeah, I don't
American
know.
gold.
I feel like... He's cute, though. He's cute, too. I just think...
But he's tiny.
I think the idea, the Sage Northcutt goody, whatever they're trying to portray him
Rock
as,
and roll ninja.
it's not even his hair and the dippity-doo or whatever he has going on in his hair. I just think they don't get it. They don't get it. Like, no one's thinking...
They still think we're the 90s kid that needs to be like, hey...
Beverly Hills Ninja?
Yeah.
Like,
where we are more... We want the real fighter regardless. We want the Damian Maias. He doesn't look like a superhero, but he's a bad mama drama.
Yeah. Sage is odd. He seems odd.
He's an action figure. He's a Ken.
He punches himself in his head in his room or something.
He is very religious.
There's an internal anger in Sage.
He was, from what I've understood from Sage, he has a very controlling father who has managed his career since he was a child.
Like Stephen Thompson?
No. I'd say to the nth degree worse, because Sage Northcutt has been on Black Belt magazine and martial arts magazine since he was like 6 years old. Like
Mama June?
Yeah. But like there's video of him winning like nationals and all these state and national competitions for karate and stuff where like he does all this ultra bow staff stuff. Like he's some wonder with all this bow staff and crazy shit. But it's because his family is driven. His sister's right there with him. His sister has all these awards. She was older than him. And his mom and dad. And they're all ultra Christians. And they went to TriStar. And Faraz Zahabi was like, all right, I'm the coach. And they got to sparring. And Sage didn't do well. And the dad flipped out. And Faraz Zahabi, who's a pretty soft-spoken guy and really doesn't like to talk outside of the gym, was just like, that kid could be a fucking world-class fighter, but his dad is going to ruin that kid's fighting career. He doesn't have the kid practice with anybody good. Kid can't take a punch because he's not allowed to take a punch. Did that happen against Mickey Gall? Maybe.
Maybe Woodley will be a good older brother then.
But that's if his dad's not right over his shoulder, because Woodley could be like, all right, come do this. I won't punch you in the face. And it doesn't matter. Woodley gets better because he gets the movement, and he doesn't ever have to worry about actually trying to knock out the kid. Where other people in the gym his age it's a gym. You get in scraps in the fucking gym, but that's exactly. You're there to get better. You ain't there to just go grab ass and do flips and shit. You're there to learn how to fight or keep fighting. There's mixed reviews, but either way, a lot of people are not.
What do you think about? I was just thinking of like movement coaches and stuff. What do you think about Kevin Lee being brought in with Floyd as a training partner to mock Conor?
I don't see that. Kevin Lee is a wrestler, isn't he? With
Isn't the craziest? That's
striking.
Real.
That's striking. Really?
That's real.
I haven't seen that yet. So Kevin Lee's mimicking Conor's boxing style?
I don't understand at all. And apparently there's some guy that costs a little more money that Jose Aldo used.
Speedy the Jet.
That has Conor McGregor's style.
But he has the kicks. He has the kicks, but he does have a much more of a straight punching style, because Conor has like a really long straight punching style that is fast but long. And I'd say that totally that Speedy the Jet from Brazil that broke Aldo's rib is way better of a training partner than a Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee's boxing is just different. It's just so much different. Off the top of my head, they're both boxers, or they both can box, but they both box
anywhere near.
Yeah, it's different levels of boxing that they're boxing at, and Conor's better.
And Conor has the longest reach that Floyd would have ever gone against, and he's left-handed, which is southpaw, which is traditionally awful for Floyd.
Yep. Floyd got touched up by Mosley at the end of Mosley's career. Like, Mosley came back for a fight, and Floyd's like, oh, okay, I'll fight him again, because he's coming out of retirement. And Mosley caught him and actually stunned Mayweather. If Mayweather's been stunned in his career, it's been in his last 3 to 5 fights. is what I would say. Where he's been the most stunned, where you're like, he shakes his head. He didn't happen to him younger. Nowadays, he's like, oh shit, that one got me. But it's that last punch you don't see, and it's over. And Conor has that type of power. I still have Conor. I still have Floyd. I still got
Floyd by decision.
Yep.
Not even a guy that everyone's like the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. He's not going to knock Conor out. You can put money on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to knock Conor McGregor out.
I agree. It's not going to happen. He's going to clinch him all day.
You know how many boxing fans out there are like, psh, knockout all day. You know how much money there's going to be able to make just by saying, I think Floyd will win by decision. Or putting Conor makes it, like, the fight goes to the distance. I think there's going to be money
Conor
to be made
going outside of any round, because you can make round bets. You can make prop bets that Conor makes it out of this round.
Yeah.
I think Floyd makes it out of this
round.
round.
Going the distance is going to be a huge bet. Just saying, Conor will go the distance. I think you're going to be able to get...
And who wins if Conor goes the distance? MMA. Right?
All day.
Oh, because all of a sudden Conor can go with your best of all time. And he's the champ in MMA, but we have many guys that are coming up. Where in boxing, we don't have too many Floyd Mayweathers coming up.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of fucking Conors. We got 10 Conors coming up, especially in those lighter divisions where, like, he looks like Conor. He looks like Conor. He looks... No, motherfuckers, they all look like themselves. They're all just the evolution of this sport.
Yeah, so...
It's beautiful to see. Love it.
So, funny thing, it might be a good thing to end on unless you have anything else to add. So, Shaquille O'Neal, I don't know if you've heard all the ruckus going on, because he came out as, like, the fourth famous basketball player that is, like, the earth is flat.
Uh-huh.
And then he came out like 2 days ago because people were like, God, you know, he's the biggest name so far to say it.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
then he came out a few days ago and was like, I was joking.
He took it back.
Yeah.
With that tall ass can't see the curve of the earth. With that humongous giant can't see the curvature of the earth.
No one can. That seems to be the issue. That seems to be the problem.
I did hear that he was saying that there is a whole flat earth topic going around, and it's got more legs than it has in a very long time. I know Eddie Bravo himself had is it Eric Dubé?
Yeah.
On a podcast with TJ DeSaint put on by Sherdog, where
your Gracie.
Oh, and
Voice.
No,
Wait, no.
Kron.
Kron.
The new legendary status.
He's
and
cute.
It was really interesting. I told you actually, I was like, whoa, Kron's on here? This is dope. Because Kron is a legendary figure in the Gracie family, and he paid a lot of homage, but didn't as well, because he said, it's bigger than my family, and I gotta know into this flat earth. So I did see, I guess, the foremost leader on flat earth is this Eric Dubai guy, right?
I think YouTube leading wise, I know there's like flat earth
but
societies,
he has the most credibility, if you can.
He just keeps breaking it down. Yeah, I think.
But he has the most views as well,
Yeah.
and he was saying that he regularly gets taken down as well, doesn't he? Like he has to replenish his numbers all the time. Yeah. And I have seen his videos before. I am that person that says, you gotta show me, and I haven't had
Isn't that
somebody
weird
show
that you're
me.
the person that says you have to show me, but you believe it's round?
Yeah, it's so true. But that's where and so with that, you gotta show me. I can't
And this
say
is the other thing
you've
everyone
shown me
says-
it's round, and you can't show me you've shown me that it's flat. So I'm just like,
This is the other, all the arguments, because I keep trying to look up stuff now, like, proof the world is round, because I'm not a flat earther by any means, but I'm like, okay, I'm all into common sense. I like to just study things, and this seems like an easy solve. It seems like an easy solve. So one of the things that I looked up was like, well, it's obvious we're on a ball because all the other planets are balls.
Right.
But how do we know that? They could all be discs as well, no?
it could be. I mean, again,
Would they still
until
be
you
giving
show
us
me
a circular reflection?
And by showing me, I guess I gotta see it with my own eyes, because if we live in a time of any times, we know that things that we see aren't necessarily true and or real. So if we believe that the military was 25 years ahead of us, for 25 and or previous years, they could have been producing photos of fake moons.
Like a whole hologram moon.
I mean, I can say I'm a bit of a theorist by heart. But it's
But what
interesting.
would be an easy proof for all the people? What would be an easy proof? Because everyone always says, well, you can see it. Go to the photos from NASA. But there's so much sketchy shit on NASA. There really is. Even if you take... There's just...
There really is. It's
from
interesting.
how they started... from how they... started to them shooting backup footage in pools, to people sitting in harnesses, to the blue marble photo being photoshopped.
What about the Laurel Canyon? Isn't it the Jared Leto lives in it?
Jared Leto house where they...
The Laurel Canyon where they supposedly made all those videos?
Yeah,
something like that. Eddie Brosh was talking about it for sure.
Yeah, I just think what would be an easy common sense way to prove, if just where we're standing, that the earth is round?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. And it's a pear shape. To the last time Neil said it, it's actually more of a pear shape, which never heard in my life ever.
Me either.
Other than the shows Blue Planet and This Planet and Life, and I've seen all those Cosmos shows, but again, it's all computer animation, and it's valid points that all these guys make up. Like, these are just renderings of our imagination.
It just seems like a very easy thing for them to fix. It's the exact... I almost feel the same way about the Pentagon. If a plane hit the Pentagon, it is very easy for you to correct all of the conspiracy theorists and show us a video of it, since there was, 64 cameras around the premises.
That's the one that everyone always says, Building 7, but for me, I'm always just like, look back at the Pentagon specifically, because me being in the military at one point in time in my life, I understand the amount of security, and guess what? The Pentagon is a hub for our military. You don't think that there wasn't fucking cameras everywhere, and the only footage we can find is from a Motel 6 that's like 5 blocks the opposite way, that housed a lot of contractors that would go in and out of the Pentagon every single day.
And the still footage they released looks a little like a missile.
To me, it looked like tumble bombs. It looked like it was something almost tumbling, or it was a direct cylinder, but it was within the, 9 frames that they released? The FBI released 9 frames. Not minutes, not seconds, frames. And it was just something blowing up.
And the wings went through the entire side of the Twin Towers, but
that's
disappeared
my building 7. That's my building 7 to people, but to get people past the entire building 7,
that exact thing.
Hard on its own.
So the government could shut up every conspiracy theory about the Pentagon by just releasing any one real video of a plane hitting the building. Done and done. Shuts them up forever. We're over that. We move on. Same thing about flat Earth. What in the hell is so hard about, okay, science, rockets, everyone, let's prove this.
The thing that was tripping me out in that interview that they had with Eddie Bravo was I had never heard the nuclear theory that supposedly nuclear energy is false and all that shit's false. And what was the other one? There was one more that they talked about, and I was like, what the fuck?
Dinosaurs?
God damn it.
The dinosaur conspiracy?
I have too many good memories of goddamn Jurassic Park in my childhood.
Perfect.
I have too many goddamn...
history.
No, that is just... It is... Yeah, they are all fake bones, technically.
Well, I started to look up the guys, because I'm just trying to really, to myself now, without going on any... I'm just like, okay, goddamn, I've lived on a globe my whole life, right?
Yeah.
I'm on a globe. Don't tell me any different. So I'm just trying to prove it to myself. So I'm looking up all these people who first, said, like, the earth was round. And all those people, every single one of them, from friggin' Isaac Newton to, like, the guys that deal with gravity, they all have conspiracies around them themselves that they're part of secret societies. And doesn't that seem like the perfect Mason cover-up? The secret, the 33rd secret... Doesn't that seem like the perfect secret? Because we always are like, what's bigger than murder? What's bigger than lying? What's bigger than money? Isn't that would be the fucking end-all be-all.
The bees just connected in my head for the flat earth. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue to go to where? India. To talk to a bunch of Indians. Guess where he landed? In America. Why? Because the earth is flat. Boom! Settled. Flat Earth.
Isn't it? See, I mean, there isn't any of the things. They're like, well, the sun, it'd be light everywhere. No, I see the flat Earth. I've watched all the flat Earth stuff.
I've looked into it more, and I can't say I'm a flat earther by any means. I'm totally joking in that last phrase.
I'm a hollow earther. I'm more of a hollow, where I'm like, how do we know about a mantle and a core and a crust? They've only ever drilled 7 miles down. Why do they just assume?
I can't wait till we get Elon Musk up there. He'll tell us the truth. Because remember his motherfucking... This is some crazy shit that we always forget to talk about too, is he put out money saying, show me how that rocket blew up here in Florida down the street from us.
The Challenger?
How did that blow up? Because we haven't had something blow up in X amount of time. Yeah, where he showed the frame by frames
with
of
the
that.
Facebook satellite on it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Where all of a sudden, frame by frame, there's just a disc, and he even showed the frames, and it's like, can someone please explain to me what went wrong? And he's willing to pay money, and no one's figured it out other than it looks like something at ultrasonic speed came by and caused a malfunction.
I know what you're talking about too. I've seen those videos.
Yeah, those are real life. Like, that's a real challenge put out by
Energy weapon.
Oh, we have many
and
things.
Then with the flat earth thing too, a link into it, which I think is a whole nother conspiracy into itself. Why won't they let anyone in? What's going on down there in Antarctica? What's going on down there? Why General Byrd, you know about
Yes, I love that. That's really interesting.
And the astral or the they had like the army, all the military of the United States said, okay, General Byrd, will at your disposal. Like, you can have us at your disposal. He goes all the way to Antarctica, and I think it was Operation High Jump. And then
I loved all that. I thought it was really informative and interesting, and it's the only place that we've all agreed that we can all share land. The only place in that globe where we're all like...
every country.
Yeah, okay, we'll take that too.
What's going on down there?
I have a theory to end it all with the ice wall in Antarctica. If we are on a flat plane and the ice wall is the barrier, the other side of that flat wall is Game of Thrones. And we are about to meet the Targaryens and Khaleesi. Because they're coming over. The show is just that link.
Oh, wait,
between
you just
us.
did it.
They just flipped it. So they're the other side and we're the other side.
We're the walkers. We are...
That's about to be...